Gentlemen, in today's episode of I'm going to try so hard to get this in 10 minutes, I'm going to go through how many times you should train per week. My promise, if you give this video your full attention, you will have the background knowledge of the internal and external factors which will affect you, and then how to sensibly navigate them in making the decision on how many times you should train per week to get the best results to change your life. Who the hell am I and why you should listen? My name is Paul Green and I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. I spent most of my time in the past decade as a physical training instructor, where I have trained some of the most elite individuals across British Defence, including those in the Parachute Regiment, the Royal Marines and the RAF. I have trained thousands of men. So I hope that my words add a little bit more weight than your average crazy lunatic on the internet. Let's get straight into it. I've got 10 minutes, gentlemen. So the plan is to talk about some internal factors, some external factors, give you a few examples, and then send you on your merry way. Sound alright? Let's get into it then. So, the first thing that's going to affect how many times you are training per week is your goals. Now, as you're already aware, I used to train random people off the streets. Think about who joins the army. People that join the army are the scum of the earth, grabbed straight off a council estate and then thrown into a training establishment, and then the next thing they are in the army. They couldn't get out, they couldn't manage college, they couldn't manage university. The dregs of society go and join the army. So think about this. Somebody with a goal to join the Parachute Regiment is in front of me, day one in the army. And I have to get them to the standard of passing one of the most hard, physically demanding test weeks in the world. And I have 20 weeks to get them there. Their goal is to pass P Company within in that 20-week period. So I need to plan my physical training sessions in order to get them to that standard. With that goal in mind, and such a short time frame to get that goal, to achieve that goal, their training sessions, they have a lot of training sessions, is what I'm trying to say. And the amount of training sessions that I have to program for them creates an element of risk. High risk, high reward. A lot of people that have a ridiculously high goal and a short time frame to achieve it get injured. So goals, if you have goals, how much time have you got to achieve them, will dictate how many times a week you are training and the risk that comes from that. Hopefully you enjoy a real life example of that. Next thing, age. As you are aware by now, if you are a regular viewer of this channel, at about the age of 40, men's type 2B muscle fibres start to slowly degenerate by a few percent per year. That is responsible for power, speed and strength. With that, if our strength is on the decline, so is our recovery. So as we get older, our ability to recover starts to slow down as well. Of course, we can train to counteract that, but age still affects our ability to recover. Also, hormones, the amount of testosterone, growth hormone we have, which will slightly reduce the quality of the recovery that comes in our sleep and stuff like that. It is a factor that needs to be taken into account. That is all I'm saying, and I'm rushing through this. Your training age. As this page is designed for older gentlemen, your training age, say if you've got 10 years of training experience, however you haven't trained for 10 years, then doesn't really count for much. But if you are a regular lifter, then your body will recover quicker from weightlifting. If I had somebody in the gym that was 21-year-old and I had somebody in the gym that was 61-year-old and they'd done exactly the same session, guaranteed the next couple of days they would probably feel very similar. However, the 21-year-old doesn't use age as an excuse, the 61-year-old does. They've probably recovered at the same sort of rate. So what I'm saying is, beginner lifters, you're going to be sore. More experienced lifters are going to be a lot less so. Another thing that's going to dictate the amount of times you train per week is the time that you have available. If you have like 2 hours available, and that can be spread across 3 sessions, then that's absolutely awesome. But fundamentally, if your lifestyle dictates the amount of time you've got available, then that's going to have a massive effect on the amount of times you can train. If you do not fuel your body adequately to get it through the day when you don't even train, adding training sessions on top of that is just going to cause pure fight or flight. Nutrition is very important when you are looking to add physical training, in particular weightlifting, to your weekly schedule. It's something that should be taken seriously because you need a certain amount of carbohydrates to fuel high performance in the gym, and then you need a certain amount of daily protein in order to recover and grow from your training sessions. If you eat like shit, then you're not going to recover from your sessions, meaning that you probably shouldn't even train. It's pointless. It's actually pointless. If you have a lot of internal stress, then you probably shouldn't be training much during the week. However, if training has a positive effect, it's a net gain on the amount of internal stress that you have, then that's when we can look to increase the amount of training sessions in order to reduce that internal stress, which is generally how most of the population view physical training. There is a number of things we can do to improve our sleep quality. If you do not sleep very well at all, then the amount of training sessions you do per week will have to be a little bit less because you will not recover from your sessions effectively. So you might be on the low end of the scale with regards to weight training sessions. 1, maybe 2 sessions per week max. Until the sleep quality is addressed, then you can increase it. Injuries. This is going to confuse the living daylights out of you, but it is a massive belief of mine, and I will literally have it out with people all day long about this issue. If you are injured, you should train more than people that are not injured. If you have got an injury, there's a reason you've got that injury. And then you could, if you were really present with the moment that you got that injury, the exact moment on how you got injured, it was a fraction, a millisecond, a moment, you slipped and this certain thing happened. That incident, that moment highlighted a weakness in your system. Now, I come back to you and say, can you train that exact area of your body? That's all a physio does. A physio goes, you did this. Do these exercises with the resistance bands. Can you train the exact range of motion that you got injured? And most of you will come back to me and go, well, no, because it fucking hurts. Well, okay, great. Can you make that exercise easier so you can train that same range of motion? Can you train it isometrically to begin with for a couple of weeks? Then can you train the eccentric motion? Then can you train the shortening of the muscle fibers, the concentric? Then can you go full range of motion after all of that? The answer is yes, you frigging can. Can you do that every day? Yes, you can. Even if you're training isometrically, you guarantee you can be doing this type of thing every single day. Even if it's for 10 minutes a day, you're still training every day. It's a very small amount of time that rest is actually beneficial. There's always something that you could be doing to improve the strength of these areas. There's always something you can be doing, because if you are resting, what are you doing? Rest will what? It'll reduce pain. Okay, cool. It will reduce inflammation. Yeah, okay, cool. Because the area is not getting aggravated. Will it improve strength? No. Will rest make you weaker? Yes. So will rest potentially increase the chances of reoccurring injury? Yes. Anyway, hopefully you appreciate the point. So now we're going to go into external stuff. There's only a couple of these. Demanding job. So you've got a demanding job, right? You've got either a physically demanding job, which will then dictate how many training sessions you do per week, or you might have a really mentally demanding job. Again, this needs to be brought into consideration when you're thinking about training. If it's a mentally demanding job, again, these should be part of that puzzle. And this is my job, to navigate all of these and then give you a plan based on all of these factors, and then react dynamically on the move in order for you to achieve your goals, change your life. But that's just a little bit about me. Demanding family life. People don't appreciate that when you've got kids, you finish work, you're taking them to karate, and then you're making the tea. When are you coming into that part of the day? Like, you've just finished work, you're picking the kids up from school, you take them home to get the tea, then you're taking them to football. It's like you've got traffic. Like, family life is legit. A lot of people, right? A lot of people, especially the people that I've worked with, actually prefer being at work because their family life it's so demanding. Like, there's no break, there's no breather. You can't just go for a coffee. You can't just have a time out when it's family life. Family life, if you've got a demanding family life, then that is going to have an effect on how many training sessions you should be doing per week. Point made. And another one, demanding hobbies. Hobbies are a part of, a lot of men's lives, and I'm a massive promoter of hobbies. Whether that be martial arts, whether that be extreme sports, skiing, rock climbing, caving, mountain biking. If you've got physically demanding hobbies, then the amount of times that you should do your weight training is going to take a bit of a hit as a result of that. The only thing I say about demanding hobbies, because I work with a lot of people that have demanding hobbies, there's going to be a time where I'm looking you in the eye and I'm saying, maybe you should reduce 1 day per week of your hobby in order to increase one of your weight training sessions, to ensure that you are doing your hobbies for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying by that. Hobbies are great, right? Because the amount of psychological, mental health benefits you get from doing your hobbies, I want that to continue. However, do the hobbies serve you? Do they really serve your physical strength, the strength of your joints and stuff like that? Usually not. So we need to look after ourselves so that we can do more of this stuff. That is what my longevity program is all about. If those of you that are interested, the links are in my bio. So we've got example number 1. Question for you. So I've got an gentleman aged 51. He doesn't have any goals. He can spare 4 hours per week. He's got a very low training age. He's less than 1 year training age. Average sleep and nutrition. Very demanding job and a demanding family life. Me as a coach, I book a call with all of the men that want to do my program, and I figure out all of this stuff in about an hour. And it's something that I monitor throughout their time working with me. With this in mind, that's just an overview of 5 or 6 of the things that I've just mentioned. I mentioned like 12 of them, by the way. 12 factors that need to be monitored throughout. This is about 5 of the main ones. How many times a week do you think you should train? So I've got an answer on the next slide. With this gentleman, I have chose twice per week. And I've said less is more. Quality sessions, 2 quality sessions that he could consistently commit to, will serve him extremely well. However, it's very important for me as a coach, and it's very important for you to understand, if your body can absorb 2, and you're thinking, I could probably do another one and I feel alright. Then make that change. However, you have to stick to one, you have to stick to twice per week for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then add one in. But only add that one in if your lifestyle, all these factors, don't really change too much. Hopefully you understand that. The next gentleman, aged 55. Again, he has no goals. This one can spare more time this time. He can spare 10 hours per week. He has over 10 years training experience. He has average nutrition and sleep. He's retired. He has a demanding family life. How many times a week should this man train? So if you think about it, the only thing that's changed here really, he's got more training age. He's a little bit older than the first guy. But the main thing here is he's retired. So he's got a lot of upstairs that he can potentially do. He might be bored, so he might have a bigger capacity to do some sessions. So again, I've chose to err on the side of caution, as I always do at the start. Less is more. For this particular gentleman, 3 times per week, he would be ideal for him. And I say this because run that for 3 or 4 weeks and then make some changes. Hopefully you understand that one. Okay. The next gentleman, a little bit younger this time, age 47, no goals. He can spare a little bit more time. He's got more training age than all of the others. He's got good nutrition and sleep. He's retired. He's got a relaxed family life. But he's injured. How many times per week should this man train? So the key differences here, this guy's relaxed family life, which is, how many of you can say that? Retired, loads of training age, good nutrition and sleep, all the time in the world. Like I said earlier on, if you are injured, you should be training more than if you were not injured. This man on my program would be doing a lot of training. It'd be very specific to this injury. And then the less injured he becomes, the less training sessions he would end up doing. Because the requirement for training is not there. It's a training is never more high of a priority than when you have something wrong with your body. Summary. Less is more. Quality, not quantity. If you are injured, train more and have the confidence to make slight changes on the move. But in order to do that, you have to run something for a decent amount of time in order to do that. If you were changing things every single week, it's not good enough. 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, run 2 sessions per week. If that's okay and you feel like your body can absorb a 3rd session, by all means bring it in. So my promise was to create an educational lecture so that you will be better equipped to reflect on your lifestyle and decide for yourself how many times a week you should be training. For the men that don't have the brain power to absorb all of this information, but you've managed to stick it through to the end of this video, fair play, fair play. If the educational content is too much for you and you want me to tell you what to do, links are in my bio. Jump on a call with me, fill out my application form. I will do all that for you. I will do all of this for you. For those fine gentlemen that absolutely love nerding it out on these educational lectures with me, then absolutely awesome. I'll see yous tomorrow.